Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kirtan. He Shivanandana, He Shivanandana, He Shivanandana, He Shivanandana, He Shivanandana, Palaya Mam, He Shivanandana, Palaya Mam, He Girijasuta, He Girijasuta, He Girijasuta, He Girijasuta, Namaskar everyone and welcome to the Hindu Prachar Kendra's Sunday morning Satsang. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your presence every week and your feedback is very motivating. Do continue to stay in touch with us and remember to invite others to join us in Satsang. You can do so right now by sharing the links for our Satsang. And we are happy that our Satsang family is growing and it is very encouraging. I hope you had a blessed and productive week. And whatever you are doing, that you are managing well and you are continuing to stay safe. Please don't compromise on your well-being. So please take care out there. So our reflections for Kartik are over and we are in the last month, December. We have only 3 Sundays left before 2020 comes to an end. And I think some people are looking forward to 2020 coming to an end. It's been a turbulent, disruptive, challenging year. And even when the year ends, it doesn't mean that things will become easier. It may be more challenging. So we'll see and take things in stride. I just want to share with you what we have planned for the last 3 Sundays. So Gita Jayanti is on the 25th of December. So I want you to think about what you will be doing on that day for Bhagavad-Gita Jayanti. So our focus this morning shifts to Bhagavad-Gita, and all our bhajans are in praise of Bhagwan Krishna. There's also a very special event that's coming up, and that is the Ram Sita Vivah, the day when the marriage of Bhagwan Shri Ram and Sita Mata it's celebrated. And the senior cast of our Balram Dila, they are doing a very special reenactment, Leela of the Ram Sita Vivaha. Now, ideally we should do this for next weekend, but we are going to share it on the very last Sunday, because as we are starting Bhagavad Gita this week, I'd like to continue Bhagavad Gita next week as we move into the Gita Jayanti, and we'll have a special session, a wedding session, a royal wedding to close off our year. So I want to invite you now to get ready for our bhajan session. When you receive the flyer, you would have seen a note to keep your Bhagavad Gita with you. So if you have forgotten to keep your copy while we are chanting and singing, you can go and get your Bhagavad Gita so that you can follow the verses with us and the Gita Dhyanam as well. So we begin with a very gentle, soothing, beautiful bhajan that's so wonderful for contemplation. Madhava Madana Murari Jaya Jai. We are singing victory to Bhagwan Krishna, and in all the bhajans we are sharing, Bhagwan is being praised by so many different names. And this one is Murari, the one who is the slayer of Mura, the one who is Keshava, who has lovely curly hair. And of course, Keshi is also one of the asuras that would have been dispatched by Kamsa. So the one who also is the slayer of Keshi. We praise this one, Bhagwan, who removes the impurities of these times, Kalimala Harani, and who is celebrated through the many leelas. He enjoys the dahi, he roams in the forest, he dances the ras, the garba, and he's also the savior of Draupadi. So we surrender to Bhagwan Krishna as we praise him in this very beautiful bhajan.
Kali Malhari Jai Keshava Kali Malhari Jai Keshava Kali Malhari Jai Madhava Madana Murari Jai Madhava Madana Murari Sundala Kundala Naina Vishala Sundara Kundala Naina Vishala Gale Sohe Vejanati Mala Gale Sohe Vejanati Mala Yachaviki Balihari Yachaviki Balihari आयो
गवहु मधुवन रास रचायो
नाचत विपिन बिहारी नाचत विपिन बिहारी माधव मदन मुरारी
जय माधव मदन मुरारी
करुणा कर द्रौपदी पुकारी
करुणा कर द्रौपदी पुकारी
पत में लिपट गए बनवारी
पथ में लिपट गए बनवारी
निरख रहे नर नारी
निरख रहे नर नारी
जय माधव मदन मुरारी
जय माधव मदन मुरारी
जय केशव कली मलहारी
जय केशव कली मलहारी
जय केशव कली मलहारी जय
माधव मदन मुरारी जय माधव मदन मुरारी जय माधव
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की
जय।
जय. We praise Bhagwan now as Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. That Bhagwan, that one, that Guru who gave us the teaching, the Bhagavad-Gita. It praises Bhagwan as Vedanta Saram Gitopadesha, who gave the teaching of Bhagavad-Gita. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, we find the essence of all the philosophy of Vedanta. So it is a beautiful mantra where Bhagwan has milked the Upanishad, Sarvopanishado Gavo we'll chant just now. So this same sentiment is expressed in this kirtan. So to that one who is the protector of all the Sant Sadhu Samrakshaka, we chant Vande, praises to Bhagwan Krishna.
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
बोलो जय 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 हरे श्री कृष्ण
बोलो जय 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 हरि श्री कृष्ण
बोलो जय 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 हरे श्री कृष्ण
बोलो जय 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 हरि श्री कृष्ण
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
देवकीतनयं यशोदबालं
देवकी तनयं यशोदबालं
मायाविलोलन मानसचोरं
माया Jagadguru.
Krishnam Vande Jagadguru.
Krishnam Vande Jagadguru.
Boliye Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. And we continue with that beautiful energy, praising Bhagwan. Shantaji is leading us in Kanha, Kanhaiya, Nandalala. We are praising the darling son of Nanda, the one who is the flute player. And we are saying, you are so charming, O Bhagwan. We are spellbound by your flute, not just by your flute, but by the music and your melody, the playing. It's so beautiful. When you lifted the Govardhan, we were also spellbound. And in the bhajan, it's saying so lovingly, why did you break the matki, the pot? You know, why did you break that pot and get scolded by Mata Yashoda? Oh, butter thief. But even all of that is so very charming and sweet and loving. It's the Bhakta and Bhagwan devotion between both. So the whole world chants your name. We are chanting your name as we seek your grace and blessing. So join with us.
Kanha Kanhaiya Nandalala, O Murli Wala, aise bajaye murali, muraliya jadu.
Kanha Kanhaiya Nandalala, O Murli Wala, aise bajaye murali, muraliya jadu bhari.
Kanha Kanhaiya Nandalala, O Murli Wala, aise bajaye murali, muraliya jadu bhari.
Kanha Kanhaiya Nandalala, O Murli Wala, aise bajaye murali, muraliya jadu bhari.
देखो भुवन तन्हाई, कैसी रास रचाई, ऐसी तान सुनाई, सुध बुध सब बिसराई। बाबा चरण निराला, ओ मुरली वाला
ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी। कान्हा कन्हैया नंदलाला, ओ मुरली वाला, ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी।
कान्हा कृष्ण मुरारी, गोवर्धन गिरधारी, काहे मट्टी फोड़ी, सुनते नीति गारी। आहे भरे ब्रज बाला, ओ मुरली वाला,
ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी। कान्हा कन्हैया नंदलाला, ओ मुरली वाला, ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी।
माँ कंचूर दुआरा, नच नच सबका प्यारा, मन मोहन मन भावन, नाम रते जग सारा। माधव मुकुंद मतवाला, ओ मुरली वाला,
ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी। कान्हा कन्हैया नंदलाला, ओ मुरली वाला, ऐसे बजाए मुरली, मुरलिया जादू भरी। मुरलिया जादू भरी, मुरलिया जादू भरी,
मुरलिया जादू भरी।
Boliye Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. And we hope that you are feeling that little Jadu, Muraliya Jadu Bhari, that one who is so charming, such a lovely energy in these bhajans and so full of devotion. So the next bhajan, before we move on to our Bhagavad-Gita Dhyanam and our verses for this morning, wonderful bhajan about Bhagwan's compassion. Sabse unchi prema sa gai, of all emotions, of all forms of worship, it is love that is supreme. And very quickly, I always share the idea, the meanings a little bit so that you understand and appreciate. Bhagwan Krishna renounced the lavish feast of Duryodhan. to eat the simple bhojan, the simple food at the home of Vidur. As Shri Rama, you ate the fruits which were offered, so filled with love after she tasted it, the fruits of Shabari. Out of pure love for Arjuna, you, O Bhagwan, you took the position of the Sarathi, of the charioteer, and you forgot even that you were Bhagwan in that sense. And it continues again that in the Yajna of Yudhishthir, you served the Brahmans and you picked up their Bartan, their utensils. With great love, O Bhagwan, you danced the Ras Leela with the gopis in Vrindavan. Why? Because love is indeed the most powerful form of devotion, and it is the best way to serve Bhagwan. So let us engage and bring out that love as we chant and sing along. Sabse Uchi Prema Sagai.
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, 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 सबसे सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, झूठे फल शबरी के खाए, झूठे फल शबरी के खाए, बहुविधि प्रेम लगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, प्रेम के बस अर्जुन रथ हाक्यो, प्रेम के बस अर्जुन रथ हाक्यो, भूल गए ठकुराई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, ऐसी प्रीत बढ़ी वृंदावन, ऐसी प्रीत बढ़ी वृंदावन, गोपिन नाचन छाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, 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 सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई।
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. And I tell you, really, I feel sometimes like we should just spend the time just singing. We must do one, maybe for the new year when we start 2021, just a whole morning of bhajans, beautiful bhajans and chanting. So a very quick recap of what we did last week. Actually, the last 2 weeks, we took an environmental journey last week as we explored the Kartik kathas and traditions, and we looked at the plight of our world, and we saw that what we shared is very pertinent. So if you've missed it, you can go back and view last week's session, because it's about our responsibility towards this creation, towards the environment, and the important role we play. And all of that is considered as part and important feature of our worship of Bhagwan. And there can really be no true worship of God if we disrespect nature and if we pollute the environment. And as I shared, if there's pollution outside, what does it mean? That there's pollution inside. And we explored, we saw how the Devis and the Devatas that we worship, they demonstrate and they show us the due respect we should give to plants and to the animals and the birds, because we looked at all the association that they share with the different plants and animals and the trees and the flowers and so on. And we shared the katha of Tulsi, of Vrinda. And I want to remind you that when we share these kathas and we read it or we hear about Ganga, it's not only about Ganga. It's about all waters. It's not only about Tulsi. It's about all the plants. It's not only about the cow, but it's about all animals. So I encourage you to read the Bhumi Suktam. I don't know if you remember, but if you have forgotten, please, anytime you get a chance, read those 63 verses of the Bhumi Suktam so that you can appreciate how we should really view this world and this creation. Someone said to me in one of the messages, Gitaji, you know what you shared? It was so important. I so enjoyed listening to it, but it is so hard. You know, but who said being Hindu is easy? As a matter of fact, it's very challenging because it challenges the very core of our being, and our dharma has laid out the highest ideals for us, the most noble standards, and it tries to thrust us in that direction so that we can bring out the best version of ourselves. We had discussed some time back. So whether we are up to the challenge, or even furthermore, whether we understand the value and importance of these ideals and standards, well, that's a different katha. But let me not get diverted and carried away with that, because we have to focus on our Bhagavad-Gita from this morning. So I am sharing with you verses that were submitted. I sent out a little text to a few persons, well, quite a few persons, shared it in the group for all of you to share what might be your favorite verse from Bhagavad-Gita, one that you like, one that is special to you. Some of you have several, and I appreciate the sharing and your responses, because I thought, let me not choose what I want to share. Let me find out what you like, and we will focus on that. So these are your selected verses. And actually, it ended up being about 13 verses in all, because many persons have what they like and they appreciate the same verses, and they have similar favorites. And we certainly cannot get through all these 13 verses in 2 sessions. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because I know it will be even difficult to do a chapter in 1 or 2 sessions. So I thought we'll look at these, what I will call really special gems, because they are choice selections, really wonderful. And I am happy actually with some of the submissions and the responses that you gave, because what Bhagwan is trying to teach in these verses, it's very clear. You know, it's very clear. It doesn't need a lot of detailed explanations, because once you read these, the idea that he is trying to get us to understand, it is very easy and very simple, and you don't have to delve into any deep philosophy. So as is the tradition, like with the Ramcharitmanas, before we start Ram Katha, we do the Ramayana mantras and we do the Ramayana Sumiran. This week we will do the Bhagavad-Gita Dhyanam before we start sharing our verses. I shared the copies with you. I hope you have your copy of the Bhagavad-Gita with you so that you can also follow along with our verses. So together, let us chant Bhagavad-Gita Dhyanam. And very quickly, in the Dhyanam, which means contemplation, we contemplate before we start studying, reading, and sharing on that Bhagwan. We also honor and remember Ved Vyas, who gave us the text. We honor Bhagwan as Jagat Guru, as the world teacher, and we focus so that we can learn, appreciate, and understand the Upadesh of Bhagwan Krishna. So Bhagavad-Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam
व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरननदी कैवर्तककेशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थदण्डोत्कटं नानाज्ञानकेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनशतपदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपरक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। So I will feel very special this morning because my name is starring Gita all the time. So I want you to turn to chapter 6, verse 5. We are probably going to be able to share 3 of the verses. We'll see how we'll progress. So chapter 6, verse 5, I think for all of us at the Kendra and even for many others who shared their responses, this emerged as the most popular and favorite of many persons. Now, I am going to read. I am splitting it up, not exactly as it is with the Sandhi where the words are joined, but the way we have to chant it, okay? So you can follow. Chapter 6, verse 5. Udharer Atmanat Manam Natmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhur Atmaiva Ripur Atmanaha. We chant together. Follow if you can. Udharer Atmanatmanam. Bolo.
Udhareratmanatmanam
Natmanam avasadayet
Natmanam avasadayet
Atmaiva hyatmano bandhur
Atmaiva hyatmano bandhur
Atmaiva ripuratmanaha
Atmaiva ripuratmanaha.
And I am sharing this, the translation, the way we have always said it for the last 35 years, because this is actually our very first mantra of the year from way back in 1985, Vedaji, when we were all quite young, all of us. So we learned this, one of the first verses we learned. And this is how it goes. I am responsible. Say that. I am responsible. So I am responsible for my own destiny. Let one raise oneself by one's own self, and never let one debase oneself. One is indeed one's own friend and one's own enemy. I am responsible. Say that. I am responsible. And there's emphasis on this. He. That he atmano bandhur, it means he atmano. Indeed, it is so. You know. Now, when we studied this at the ashram, one of our teachers, our Acharya ji, when we did this verse, he said, this is as clear as, not crystal, as clear as acrylic. He was actually a scientist, right? Because acrylic is actually, Ishji, behind the camera, one of the clearest, I think the clearest material that exists. Maybe we can check that, okay? So he said, yeah, the clearest, yes. The clearest, yeah. So as it's so clear, it doesn't even really need any commentary or explanation. You know, last week, or I think the week before, I shared a verse, Mitrasyaham ma chakshusha. May I see the whole world with a friendly eye. And may the whole world also see me with a friendly eye. How do you see yourself? When you look at yourself, what do you see? Now, I am not talking about when you look in the glass mirror, but when you look at a very special mirror that we all have, which is the mirror of one's own mind. Ciro, can you sing that? Tora man darpan, just the chorus. Very beautiful bhajan actually that we all know, and maybe next week we'll sing the whole bhajan.
Tora mandar pan kehlaye, Tora mandar pan kehlaye, bhal bhuri sare karmon ko dekhe aur dikhaye, Tora mandar pan kehlaye, Tora mandar pan kehlaye.
Definitely we'll sing this whole one next week, because one of the popular verses also is from the chapter 18, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. So we'll also be looking at the mind. So when you look at yourself, what do you see? This is saying your mind is the mirror that reflects both good and bad, as it reveals, and it reveals that its nature to all of us. And the mind is very powerful. There is nothing greater. So it's saying, oh man, do not let dirt settle in the mind. So it emphasizes what? That cleaning of the mind, because it is in the mind one determines whether one will be friend to oneself or enemy to oneself, and indeed to this whole world. I'm sharing an example that we know very well. Vibhishan speaking to Ravan. When he says, Tava ura kumati basi biparita hita anahita manahu ripu prita. Ripu means the enemy. Okay? What is he saying? Kumati, or so this mati, this is the condition of the mind. When it's talking about what? The dirty mind, the mind that is not seeing clearly. So he's saying, oh Ravan, tava ura kumati, in your heart, in your mind, biparita. You are unable to understand, you are able to see clearly. hita anahita manahu ripuprita. So you cannot understand who is your friend and who is your enemy. Because Ravan is thinking what? Bhagavan Shri Rama is the enemy, unable to understand the enemy is outside. So who is your best friend, Shanta? Yeah, not Veda, if my mommy saying so. But I am my own best friend, but I am also my own worst enemy. And for anything and everything that I will be, I am responsible. Yes, we must take this in context because we do have influences. There's karma, there's circumstances, desh, kal, paristiti. But through all of these influences, who is responsible for negotiating and managing? I am responsible. I share one beautiful doha of Sant Kabir that our Acharya ji also shared with us. Tera bairi koi nahi, tera bairi fail, apne faili mitaile, gali gali karasel. Here's another word for enemy, vairi, vairi. So we learned to Ripu just now, vairi. So tera vairi koi nahi. Koi means no one. Huh? None is your enemy in this world. Tera vairi fail. It is your own vices that are your enemies. So what does he say? Get rid of them as you move about and let virtue become your friend. This is what this verse is asking us. Bhagwan Shri Ram tashavari sapanehu nahi dekhai paradosha. You know, find fault. Look for faults. Some of us like doing that, actually. Not a good practice. Huh? Find fault. Look for plenty faults in your own self. Judge. Judge your own self. This is what Bhagwan is saying to Shabadi. Oh, Shabadi, never ever, even in a dream, sapanehu, do you see others' faults? Do you look for the faults of others? Where should you see that? In your own self. So let us all focus on ourselves. Now, this does not mean that we become selfish. Okay, context. You can say, it's about me. As someone said, me, myself, and I, a very deadly combination. So take it in context. Let us focus on ourselves, and that should make us not selfish, but selfless. So let us commit to being our own best friend. So we move on now to chapter 2, verse 47. Chapter 2, verse 47, another very popular verse, well loved by many of you. So repeat. Karmanyeva dhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu ma te sango stvakarmani. So remember, I'm reading it the way we have to chant it, okay? Karmanyeva dhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu ma te sango swakarmani. Repeat. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhu ma te sango stvakarmani. Beautiful. Perform your duty. All your duties, whatever are your responsibilities, perform them and do them well. But don't feel entitled to the fruits of your action. See this, huh? Very important. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your actions, nor should you be attached to inaction, to inactivity. What does it say? And very simply, just do what is required, right, Sham? You just played Holak. That's what's required. So just do what is required. Work, serve, support, and don't be thin-skinned if appreciation doesn't come. You know, if there isn't reward, acknowledgement, and so on. Now, I can use our own example because usually people who have NGOs, community organizations, and so on, we try to ensure that we thank everyone and we show appreciation to those who are supporting us. But sometimes we're so busy and all of that, we may miss someone. We may overlook something or whatever. You know, even within your friend might forget to tell you something or to thank you. Someone in your family, you have done something. What? Just do what's required. That's all. People do forget. So don't get annoyed. Actually, this issue of entitlement, it's a very, very important dialogue, but not here. And it's a different kind of dialogue. So the essence, the spirit of work is given here through 4 instructions that we can pick out. 1, do your duty. Do your duty. And don't be concerned about the results. The second, the results, the fruits of your actions, they are not for your enjoyment. Third, while working, give up the pride of doership. It's what is called kartrutvam. We'll see it. And the fourth, do not be attached to inactivity, procrastination, laziness. So our tradition, Hindu Dharma, cautions us about 3 things. Mamatvam, say that. Mamatvam, minus. Kartrutvam. Kartrutvam means what? Doership, which is what this verse 247 is telling us about. And bhoktrutvam. Bhoktrutvam means what? Enjoyership. Okay, these 3 things. So let's see it very quickly, and we'll just read the next verse, and we'll continue with that 3rd one from next week. There's a very beautiful verse in Bhagavad-Gita that conveys actually, it is something that really should make us think, okay? So if you have Bhagavad-Gita, you can check this. It is the verse 8. Kate kanta kaste putra samsaroyam ativa vichitra kasyatvam kahakuta ayataha tattvam chintaya tadiha bhrataha. Bhrata means brother. Chintaya, well, not just brother, everyone, okay? Everyone. Chintaya, think. Who belongs to you? What belongs to you? This is the question. And further it continues, to whom do you belong? This is what it's asking. Who is your wife? Who is your child? How strange is this samsara? From where have you come? Where are you going? Think of this. Now, this is not to say, I like to use those who are in the satsang, right? Next thing, my husband Krishna said, well, you are not my wife. You know, or Vedaji says, well, Shanta, you are not my daughter. What? Because you don't belong to me. I don't. Be practical. It's not telling us to be uncaring. We'll see this just now. Our tradition teaches us to express and to feel the highest emotions. But it's just asking us to think, you know, what really do I have? What really do I own? What really can I give? So let's see. Kartrutvam, doership. I am doing. Aham karomi iti ahankaraha. I am doing it. This was Ravan. I, me, my. Okay, this is what is called ahankar, abhiman, ego. Okay, in Bhagavad-Gita itself, chapter 11, verse 33, we are not chanting it, just this one line that I'm sharing. Bhagwan Krishna says to Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. O Arjuna, Nimitta bhava. Become an instrument. Become the instrument for doing dharma. Become the instrument through which Bhagwan's music, the melody flows like the basuri. Just be the instrument. You know, and Arjuna in the Mahabharata, he shared this verse with Bhagwan Krishna. Yat kritam yat kadishyami tat sarvam namaya kritam tvaya kritam tu phalabuk tvam eva madhusudana. Madhusudan, one of the names for Krishna. This is the attitude to have. Whatever I have achieved, whatever I will achieve, I am not the doer of any of these. O Madhusudan, O Bhagwan, you are the real doer, and you alone are also the enjoyer. This is what I say. Being, taking these concepts, it's a challenge. It seems very hard, but listen, we can practice this idea. Just like Hanuman Baba, when Shri Rama, he reached to Shri Rama with the news of all that had happened in Lanka. He fell at Bhagwan's feet, and Bhagwan did not know how to reward him for all that he had done, for bringing this great news. And he tries to lift him up. And what does Hanuman ji say? Naghi Sindhu Hata Kapurajara. Beautiful chaupai. So sabatava pratap raghurai. Whatever I have been able to do, it was only because of your pratap, your grace. Because Hanumanji sees himself as the nimitta, just the instrument. So, kartrutvam, mamatvam minus, then let's see, bhoktrutvam, to what? The enjoyership. Do we want to be sulking all through life? No. See, our tradition, we pursue our four pursuits, the four purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. We are in the world. We have all our emotional, material needs and so on. So we pursue this and we enjoy. Ishavasya Upanishad tells us in the first verse, enjoy with a sense of renunciation, with a sense of gratitude. So we will share and read our next verse, which is 9:27, and we will just share the meaning and continue from here next week. So 9:27, chapter 9, verse 27. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi yat, yat tapasyasi, kaunteya, tat kurushwas mad arpanam. Okay, so again we see another name for Arjuna here, Kaunteya. Yat karoshi yadashnasi,
Yat karoshi yadashnasi,
yat juhosi dadasi yat,
Yat juhosi dadasi
yat
yat,
tapasyasi kaunteya,
Yat tapasyasi kaunteya,
tat kurushva madarpanam.
Tat kurushva madarpanam.
Again, very clear. What does it mean? O Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, all that you do. Karoshi. See, I find this is almost, why did Bhagwan say this next one? Yat karoshi, all that you do. Yad ashnasi, all that you eat. See this? All that you eat. Follow the meaning. All yad juhosi dadasi yat, all that you offer and give away. Yat tapasyasi, all austerities that you may perform. Mad arpanam. Arpanam means offering. Do it as an offering to me. Can you imagine this? This really is pushing us, almost like forcing us to walk a path. And I will say this during this month for many of us, can you really offer to Bhagwan what you are going to be eating? See how all of these values are embedded in our verses and in our tradition, because when you have to offer something to God, do you bring the worst for offering? You bring the best. And who is the most important offering? What is the most important offering? You, your own self. You are the Mahanaivedya. In puja, we bring the Naivedya offering, and when we offer Naivedya, we get prasad, grace. This is the Mahanaivedya, the heart, the mind, all of this. This is the offering. So Bhagwan is asking us everything. Whatever we are thinking, whatever we are doing, whatever we are saying, every action, we sing in one of our mantras of the years, every little action is a Hindu offering. So this is the challenge for us to see this. So I close this morning by chanting this very beautiful mantra, which you probably all know, Kayena Vacha Manasendriyaira. And what does it say? Whatever I do with the body, whatever I do through speech, whatever I do through the mind or the sense organs, either by the discrimination of the intellect or by the deeper feelings of the heart or by whatever may be the tendencies of the mind, I do it all without ownership, and I surrender that to you, O Narayana. So please say the words, Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmanava Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yad Yat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami. So whenever we offer something, what do we say? Samarpayami. Make your life, make yourself the Mahanaivedya, the offering, and give yourself, what do we say? Samarpayami. I offer totally to you. So 3 verses, well, we have shared. We'll look a little bit at this next week and then continue on to another 2 or 3 verses. We won't do the Gita Dhyanam again next week, so it will allow us a few minutes extra to be able to share some more. So I invite you to close your eyes, collect your thoughts, reflect on what we have shared this morning about our sense of responsibility, being our own best friend, not our worst enemy, about surrendering all actions to Bhagwan, and also about recognizing that we are to be only the instrument through which Dharma finds expression. As we reflect on this, we chant our closing mantras. We pray for everyone and everything, and we ask that peace will exist everywhere and with everyone. Om Durjano Sajjano Bhuyat Sajjana Shanti Mapnuyat Shanto Mushetra Bandhebhyo Mukta Shanyan Vimochayet Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahi Mahisha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Hyam Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapava Shanti Aushadhe Shanti Vanaspate Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvagam Shanti Shanti Deva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi Om Shanti 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 Hari Om प्रेम से और जोर से we chant जयकार बोलिए गजानन स्वामी की
जय,
श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की उमापति महादेव की जगदम्बे माता की पवन सुत हनुमान की सियापति रामचंद्र की गोस्वामी तुलसीदास की ट्रिनिडाद और टोबैगो देश की गीता माता की बोलिए श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय 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 सीताराम. So very quick, just remind us that Gita Jayanti is on the 25th of December, and the challenge is for you to be able to keep a proper vrat on that day. Actually, I know many persons, you know, we have fasting days, Thursday, Tuesday, different people have different days, and sometimes when this occasion comes around, people still continue and maintain their vrat, their fast. So that's the challenge for all of us this year, and even those of us who are vegetarian and so on, Vedaji, we should still find something to give up, to sacrifice. And on the last Sunday of the year, I want to remind you to look out for our Ram Sita Vivah, our production. We had a very beautiful and special production on that premiered on the day of Diwali. If you missed it, please just check that which we released on Diwali day when Shri Ram returned to Ayodhya. So our wonderful royal wedding is going to be very similar. So share the Neuta actually is being made, and the Neuta will be coming out soon, right, Ishji? Yes, so we'll have the Neuta to share. And I want to make a special appeal. You know, when you go to a wedding and you normally carry a gift or something you will take along, and then when the Dulhan sit, you will offer khichdi and so on. If you can afford, please offer some khichdi in our Kendra account at the end of the year on that special occasion for the celebration of the wedding of Sita and Ram. We do have lots of work going on. All that we are doing, it takes some effort. There is some expenditure. So if you can contribute in any way, we'd certainly appreciate any little khichdi that you can give on the occasion of Ram Sita Vivaha. Have a very blessed, beautiful, and productive week. Continue to be safe, and we continue with Bhagavad Gita verses next week. Namaskar.